Oh, hey guys, it's your boy Danger, and today we gotta talk about your favorite emperor or your favorite Yonko, Buggy the Emperor. You know what I mean? So we gotta talk about Cross Guild today. And ideally, what I want to speak about is the person that's gonna be the third commander of Cross Guild. Now, at this point, I think it's pretty obvious to notice that Cross Guild is a crew made up mostly of like the strong people are Shishibukai. So it's a crew made up of mostly Shishibukai. But of course a lot of people can't be considered or whatever, can't become members because they've already taken their own path. Like Jinbei, you know what I mean? Jinbei is a part of the Straw Hats. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, people like that cannot necessarily join because they have their own journey separate from just joining this crew. And ideally at this point, I believe it's safe to assume that the strong members from this crew, a lot of them or most of them will come from the Shishibukai system. So now we have to look at the Shishibukai and everybody that was a Shishibukai, right? So ideally, if we look at all the characters that's on screen, you know that certain people aren't going to join just because they've already taken their own path. And I'm speaking about people like Jinbei, as we mentioned before, and Blackbeard becoming a Yonko. So people like Jinbei and Blackbeard are totally ruled out when it comes on to becoming a member of Cross Guild. So we also know when it comes on to people like Bartholomew Kuma, he's also not joining. So as far as the Shishibukai in right now, that's like 3 people that have been ruled out and 3 people that have joined. And we're talking about, you know, Crocodile, Mihawk, Buggy. So that's 6 of the 10, I believe, if I'm correct. Art. This looks like 11. So yeah, it looks like it was 11 Shishibukai. So 6 of them are ruled out because 3 of them are already joined and 3 of them have their own path. So there's like 5 other people on the list right now. So ideally we could just look and see like Weevil, Doflamingo, Trafalgar Law, who else? Gecko, Moria, and Bull Hancock. So those are the 5 remaining people that are like outliers or that are Shishibukai that we do not know completely what their faith is right now, right? So basically I see a lot of things happening, right? Like for one, I think I should just speak about Doflamingo, being that he's stronger than some of the people that we mentioned, or to us we think he's strong based on, you know, the fights, the matchups, you know, stuff like that, the haki, the awakening. Like we could just gauge strength and stuff like that, and based off the information that we know, Doflamingo is one of the strongest of the 5 just mentioned, other than like Trafalgar Law. But you know, I don't ideally see Trafalgar Law joining a crew. You know, he's too much of a ambitious dude to do that. So I wouldn't really pick Trafalgar Law, because if it was anybody, I would pick Trafalgar Law. Like, yeah, he's definitely gonna be the third commander. You know what I mean? But the way I see things, I believe Doflamingo would make the best option for becoming the third commander of this crew. And the reason I'm saying this is because we've seen Doflamingo clash with people like Crocodile, and we've also seen Crocodile clash with people like Dracule Mihawk. It gives us a level or a range of power level when it comes on to people like Crocodile and these other Shishibukai like Doflamingo, Mihawk. Even though, like, let's say Mihawk might be the strongest swordsman in the world, Crocodile is not a pushover to him. It's just Luffy's a god and he beat these 2 individuals, so we can't even look at any of the factors and none of that. Luffy's a god, that's why Luffy was winning and he got to where he's at right now, you know what I mean? So I believe ideally Doflamingo is gonna become the commander for Cross Guild based on the information and the power level and the strength and all the feats and just knowing how strong these individuals are. There are other people that are candidates or that can be considered to be the third commander, but just based on what I've seen, Doflamingo makes the most sense, you know what I mean? So for the next part of the video, I think I need to speak about like other Shishibukai potentially joining. So I think ideally there are a lot of people that I ideally believe are not gonna join, just based on the storyline factors and just other indicators as to why these individuals are gonna travel on their own journey, or a different journey better yet. So first and foremost, we gotta speak about Gecko Moria, okay? Now, Gecko Moria has been through countless amount of bullshit, right? But at one point, it was also being, Oda was writing the story as if Gecko Moria was killed, or Doflamingo killed Gecko Moria on the orders of the gods or higher ups in the world government, right? But clearly, as we can see, Gecko Moria is alive. He was captured by Blackbeard, and then at this point, he escaped. So that means that basically Doflamingo got the order as a Shishibukai, but let's say, hypothetically, he just didn't kill Gecko Moria. He just delivered the message like, yeah, he's dead. You know, and he probably told him like, yo, you gotta disappear, bro. They told me to kill you, but you know, I don't want to kill you because I don't really like these people. You know what I mean? I'm trying to take over. I'm trying to get back up there. And, you know, that's what Doflamingo was trying to do. So it's like he'll do it because he wants to get in the good graces of the higher ups, because we know Doflamingo is a royalty and he cherishes the royalty position. So Doflamingo will do whatever it takes just so that he could get back to the top and get back to that status that he's been longing ever since he was a child. So basically, I believe that the reason Doflamingo even was doing that is just because you wanted to get up there. So that makes us believe that he's had to spare Gecko Moria, because obviously to us it seems like he had the strength or ability to do this said task, and he just refused to do it ideally. So to me, it makes me think that being that Oda wrote the story this way, I'm not saying he had an idea like way back then that he wanted them to all be on a crew, but I'm just thinking that they could put aside their differences based on how that went, because we could see that Gecko Moria is alive. So basically, it makes me believe that Gecko Moria would most likely join this crew, and it'll make sense because at the end of the day, he's been around these people for a long time. You know, he knows them, he's familiar with them, he knows they're strong. You know what I mean? So it's like ideally it would make sense to go there, because it's like at first I thought Gecko Moria would just join Blackbeard. It's a no-brainer, you know? But he didn't. So ideally, this is where he's gonna go, because he's needed. He's not weak, you know what I mean? We can't just forfeit people in the verse when they're powerful. We gotta take advantage of the fact that these individuals can do a lot of damage. So it's like, I believe ideally Gecko Moria is going to cross guild, and it will make sense because this is where majority of Shishibukais are going. I spoke about Law earlier. In my video earlier, I spoke about how he will be a captain, and not just any captain, the captain of the Pluton. And the reason Law is not included is because if he joins Cross Guild, he will definitely become the third commander regardless of who else joins, you know what I mean? The reason is because of the Pluton video where I said Law would be the captain of the Pluton. It makes too much sense, so I'd rather if you just watch that video and you'll see what I think. But ideally, let's speak about the other Shishibukai that we didn't talk about so far, and I'm talking about people like Weevil and people like Hancock, okay? So ideally, I want to speak about Weevil first because I got a video coming up next, and I'm gonna talk about Weevil and where Weevil's faith lies, or where would Weevil go? Ideally, Weevil is not gonna join this because he was a later addition, and he's more about ideally like idolizing his pops and his footsteps and stuff like that. So I believe as for Weevil, he'll most likely try to follow in the footsteps of his father. So, you know, ideally, I don't think he's coming to this crew. And what do I mean by following the footsteps of his father? Well, you have to watch my next video to fully understand what's gonna happen. I can't give you a spoiler because I'm gonna mess with that video. So for the next Shishibukai we gotta speak about is Boa Hancock, right? And she's the final Shishibukai that's remaining, because you know we spoke about everybody else basically. So it's like at this point, I'm gonna be real honest with you, brother. I do not think that Boa Hancock is joining any crew, and the only crew she would join is the crew of the love of her life. I got a video on that too, but you know it's gonna be a while before you get that video. But ideally, I just don't believe that Boa Hancock is gonna join, because I feel like the reason Rayleigh was there at their country is because Rayleigh knew what was gonna happen, and it's like anybody comes here, I'm gonna try to help Boa Hancock because you know they helped Luffy, they helped to protect them and stuff like that. You know they're good people too. It's like ideally they just like, oh man is shit, whatever. So they just all stay in the country to themselves. That's really what they do. But ideally, I think Hancock is just gonna marry Luffy in the end of the story, something, and that's how she's gonna be protected by him, you know what I mean? And this could lead up to them just giving the same girl that Luffy met when he fell on the island. She could just, like, Hancock could just give her the role of being the ruler of the country, you know what I mean? I remember her name, but I'm gonna put a picture up here and figure out the information. But yo, peace, man. Y'all be safe, you know what I mean? Got more videos coming. Make sure y'all like the videos, man. Know what I mean? Comment, subscribe, you know? Do all that fun, man. See y'all later, man.